What is up, guys? This is Micah, and I'm going to do a quick video on current market sentiment as I see it, in my own opinion, and my trades for today and everything in between. First of all, I hope everyone's been well. Hope you and your families are doing well with the coronavirus situation. We're not quite out of the woods yet, but it does look better than it did a few months ago. I want to talk to you today about my trades on YMI and ALT. I have some things to share and discuss regarding current sentiment and kind of the dynamic that we're in right now, as I see it anyway. First of all, I want to note that over the last 6 weeks or so, the dynamic has shifted in a by a pretty large margin, I would say, because we have new components, right? The market's very multifaceted. You're going to have many components, many moving parts to things. It's like an onion. There's layers upon layers. And very important layers, in my opinion, is one of the new uh, situations, if you will, with certain gurus streaming on YouTube. Okay, I don't need to name names. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Um, this has affected the dynamic of the small cap market greatly. Okay, you have to stay cognizant of what is happening in regards to that situation to be fully prepared. The best that you can, really, for the day ahead. So, understanding what is very popular, what's being talked about, understanding what can be crowded is very important as well. So a lot of the moves that we're seeing are really due to the fact that the crowding is basically reached a boil. And not only that, but I also want to talk about the situation of certain brokers that I won't name drop either, that have been a huge contributing factor to the momentum and the moves that we see. So much so, in fact, that I no longer even entertain the idea of trading pre-market because I'm going to get my ass kicked. Let's be real. If we're just being honest here, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked. So um, I always believe that it's very important to stay cognizant of what is happening, the current situation, right? The current dynamic of the small cap market, and it's ever changing. Not only do markets change constantly, but um, everything around the market changes as well. And whoever seems to have the most reach is a very important uh, situation to watch, in my opinion. And right now, there are some gurus that seem to have a lot of reach, and they absolutely do have effect on some of the names in play. So what I'm really trying to say here is that if you've been having a hard time the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you're not alone. And there's been a lot of rules that I've had to implement and stay really strict on because if I don't, I'm simply going to get ran over. Um, a lot of my approach to spacing and my where I add, like where my initial entry is and how aggressive or risk averse I want to be has been affected by this. And I definitely am staying aware of my limitations and worst case scenario. Um, One of the things that I really pride, I guess, myself on um, is that today trading YMI and ALT for me is truly a 180 from how I would have traded it 3 to 4 years ago. 3 to 4 years ago on YMI and ALT, I would have totally gotten crushed. I actually did lose on ALT yesterday short, and I wasn't crushed or anything. I just took a loss. I gave some of my day back, but um, that was a little bit of rule breaking, and it bit me. It caught me, and thankfully things don't spiral out of control like they did, years back. But I still make mistakes. I still break rules, and the market brings the hammer for when I do that. So um, To say that AOT has been a pain in the ass would probably be a euphemism, but let's just say that it's a pain in the ass. Truly, I believe that AOT may deserve a harsher a harsher name. Um, but anyway, let's get into it. Today, I really liked the short squeeze potential of YMI. I got long on YMI, taking a look at my fills here. I have 4 screens, so taking a look at a screen that's not being recorded right now as I can't get the thing to switch over to it. I will post these, by the way, on I've posted it in Madaz Money chat room, and I'll post it on Twitter. But YMI today got long 772. I loved the churn and burn of YMI. Now, for me, key area on YMI was always 850. Okay, this area was very important as a swing high in pre-market. We had kind of a double test here, although it didn't quite get there. But you know, I round up a little bit to the half number, the whole half number. I like to use it in certain situations like this. I definitely believed that this was the key area. Why did I believe that? When you have an area that's tested multiple times and you see either a wall thrown up or hidden selling at that area multiple times, what happens is people tend to think that they're going to continue to hold as resistance. And that in itself can be fuel for the move higher. And that's exactly what we saw in YMI. So whenever, nothing happens on accident. So whenever you see an area that has been tested multiple times as resistance that cannot seem to be breached, or if it is breached, it's quickly stuffed, this is actually a tactic. This is actually a tactic to accumulate shorts for the move higher. Okay, so if you understand that when shorts are stopping out, stock can squeeze because they're tripping over each other to get out. When you understand how certain areas are stuffed so many times, and then of course, you know, we see this, let's just call it 850, even though it's slightly below that. We see the 850 level stuffed multiple times, then we see a lower high, and the lower high is stuffed multiple times, and then we see a lot of a breach below the VWAP multiple times. And what this says all across the board for me, you know, being that this is an IPO, that there's not active dilution on it, that I can see anyway, and it's ETB, okay, this creates a very, very dire situation for short sellers who are overly aggressive, in my opinion. This is just my opinion, okay? When you have an ETB stock, when you know that there's no active dilution, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, I'm okay being wrong. You're not going to hurt my feelings. If there is dilution, let me know. When you have an ETB, you know, non-dilutive day one play that has constantly trapped at certain areas so really what's happening here? This environment says weakness all over it, right? And that's what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like it's stuffed at 850, it breached the VWAP, then it put in a lower high, it moved to new low of day. Then when it comes back up, it's stuffed again, it moves back towards lows, then it comes up again at 820s, and that is stuffed, it breaks below the VWAP, even another retest, and that breaks below the VWAP. What does this say? This says relative weakness all across the board. And truly, that's exactly what it's supposed to look like, in my opinion. I talked about in the chat room how this can be a huge, huge trap here for shorts. And really what's happening is every time a key area is talked and tries to be breached about, talked about and tries to be breached, this is stuffed immediately. And when you see the lower high situation, when you see the failing below the VWAP multiple times, you can only assume that a ton of shorts are in this. And where are they most likely using risk? Number one for me would be 850. That's a key area for me. And I talked about in chat, and also, of course, pre-market high. Of course, we did breach the 850 and off it went to pre-market highs. But then it was stuffed at these levels too. Some hidden sellers showed up at the pre-market high breach, and now it's still reclaimed and grinding higher. So, but keep in mind, whenever you see patterns like this, have a time frame that you like to use for, um, well, at least me anyway. I like to see if a stock is maintaining at or near the highs at certain times of day. If we are in the later half of the day, if we're after lunch and the stock is still not at or near lows, um, I'm definitely cognizant of that and I'm cautious. But if you see, and this really just comes with experience. Like I said, 3-4 years ago, I would have gotten destroyed on this chart. Today, I capitalized on the squeeze. I got WIMI from 770s to 820s. Okay, so I didn't hit the I didn't know if it would get to 850, and obviously I didn't know if it would get to pre-market, but I had a pretty good indication that this was going to be able to squeeze at least back up to this area. And when we got there, I wanted to see, are there going to be sellers that show up at this area? Is it going to be stuffed? And of course, 850, are there going to be sellers at this area? Is it going to be stuffed? Because these are areas that are going to be used as risk, for someone who is most likely anyway. I can only assume swing highs, swing lows, certain whole and half dollar marks, a lot of things that retail use. They're going to be utilized at least as a guideline if you're short around the VWAP area. You're definitely looking at the swing high. You're definitely looking at 850, and we could see what happened there. ALT, I talked about $21 area in the chat room. I said that if ALT can stay below $21, it will continue to be backside for me. And if it reclaims this area, this is no longer backside for me. So right here, I just have my short squeeze indicators and things like that. You can ignore that. But I went long here. I saw a lot of action on the tape that indicated that this was going to squeeze. Okay, I did not see weakness at all. 21 was a key area for me, and I didn't see any hidden selling at 21 either. What happened was price breached 21 up and over and successfully retested. Now, whenever you're dealing with a breakout strategy, which I did not trade and I don't trade, I don't like to tell anyone what to do, but all I can do is just tell you what's worked for me. If you're a trader that's trading breakouts, you absolutely need to have a good understanding of the tape on small caps. If you understand the liquidity needs for certain companies to dump, in my opinion, the greatest place for them to start the cash machine, which is what I really call just dilution. I just call it the cash machine. The greatest place for them to dump is areas where there's going to be long retail. And having a breakout point can serve as a great place for them to dilute shares. And really what you see here is the stock may, let's just use 21 as an example. The stock may breach 21, it may get at 21 or a little bit higher, and it may completely stuff. And truly what's happening here is they need liquidity. They need the liquidity to dump into. They need the long retail to dump into. And what better of a place than where you can only assume that longs are buying it on a breakout. This is actually what we saw here on YMI. This was the pre-market high. As you can see, YMI broke the pre-market high and hidden sellers showed up, and that was a great area for them to sell into. Now, although there's not dilution that I can see on YMI, anyone who's watching the tape on YMI knows that this thing has been stuffed at every breakout, like all day. In fact, the long was really not, I wasn't really all that comfortable like I was with ALT on it because of the selling. Anyway, I'm going to keep this short. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep in mind the momentum behind some of these plays and try and stay safe. God bless and hope everyone had a great week. Cheers.